Hey, today I'm talking about 3 Jackie Chan movies, so get ready for lots of hilarious kung fu. The names of those 3 movies are Rumble in the Bronx, Police Story, and Project A. First up is Rumble in the Bronx. This movie was amazing. This is a 1995 Hong Kong movie filmed in Canada, set in the United States. The basic premise is Jackie Chan's uncle owns this grocery store, but he's selling it to this beautiful woman. But then there's a lot of gang violence in town that Jackie Chan gets all wrapped up in. And it is amazing. The action is incredible. The comedy is hilarious. Jackie Chan is just so beefed up at this point too. I loved all of the set pieces. Like, there were some big things that they destroyed in this movie. Also, this movie is crazy beautiful. Like, I kept just being like, dang, you pretty. Also, I discovered that I really love the subgenre of film street gang kung fu movies, particularly the 90s one. I don't really know how many films are in this subgenre, but for sure this movie is, and so is TMNT. And I really love that aesthetic, and I want to see more movies like that. Like, I'd be cool if people now try to like recreate the vibe of the 90s street kung fu scene. That was an amazing sentence. So I, without a doubt, recommend this movie. It is incredible. I will warn you though that it is dubbed, so they filmed it where everyone just spoke their own natural language, Tower of Babel thing, because they had planned on just dubbing over everyone in the end. So words don't match up to mouths. You get used to it after like 30 seconds. That's just my only warning. It's so good. It's definitely worth it. It's hilarious. The action's incredible. It does get a little bloody at one point, but that's just kind of like to set the stakes. And it works. It does a really good job of, you know, making it be like, oh, people can get hurt. This is intense. So yeah, great movie. Love it a lot. Definitely, you should watch it. Next up is Police Story. This is a 1985 Hong Kong kung fu movie, this time actually set in Hong Kong. The basic premise is Jackie Chan is a police officer who assists taking down this drug lord, and then after that his job is to protect the key witness. But of course a lot of hilarity and bad things ensue. This movie's also really solid. I was thoroughly impressed with like lots of big stunts. Like, to kind of spoil a little bit, one of the first big stunts at the beginning was like they built a slum and then they drove some cars through it, and it's crazy. It's just as funny as Rumble in the Bronx. Jackie Chan's character is way more of a piece of shit. Like, he constantly lies, and it's just ridiculous how much he lies. He's not a great guy. I really enjoyed this movie, but I couldn't put it in the really liked category simply because of how awful of a person Jackie Chan's character was. Getting into the third act, his character gets set up like he killed someone. He's at the police station, and the police chief is like, all right, so I believe you didn't kill that guy, but we have to arrest you and investigate this. We gotta play it by the book because we don't want the public to think that we would sweep anything under the rug. We're not playing favorites with cops. It looks like you broke the law, so we have to treat you like you broke the law, okay? Makes sense, it's fair. And I was like, oh wow, I love this police chief. You're a great guy. This is amazing. Jackie Chan's character though is like, no, I'm gonna go batshit crazy on your ass. I'm gonna put a knife to the police chief's throat, temporarily kidnap him, and then go do whatever the hell I want. And that's what he does, and he's the hero. Yay! I love it when cops break the law. Good times. So if it wasn't for Jackie Chan's character being a true piece of shit, I easily could have put this so close to Rumble in the Bronx, but because of that I had to bring it down a bit. It's not down too terribly far, but it's still. I do recommend this movie though, because the action and humor is incredible, and I trust that you as a viewer are not going to romanticize police violence in this day and age. So I think it'll be okay if you decide to give it a watch. And lastly is Project A. This is a 1983 Hong Kong action kung fu movie. This time, Jackie Chan plays a naval officer at the turn of the last century. They've been having lots of problems with pirates in the area, and then eventually he becomes a police officer. I didn't really understand that. That kind of leads into my main issues with the movie. Is I don't really know what was happening. Nothing really made sense. The action was still pretty good, like the kung fu and whatnot. I really like the bar fight scene though. That scene was great. There weren't as many big set piece things as the other two movies, but this is also like the earliest of his movies that I've seen. So I shouldn't be too surprised that, like, you know, they didn't tear down a whole city or a giant building, or they did blow some stuff up, but it wasn't like, woo, it was kind of more just like, yeah, okay. It was still enjoyable. It was nice, it was good. I really liked the villain, just the aesthetic of the villain. He looked like a Chinese pirate at the turn of the last century. I wouldn't recommend it, not because it's not a good enough movie, but because there's just so many other good Jackie Chan movies out there that make a lot more sense. I would only say go for it if, like, you've kind of exhausted a lot of other Jackie Chan movies. It's still solid, it's just, you can do better, so go for those first. But if you do exhaust those, it's still good. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Rumble in the Bronx, sitting at number 33 in the really like section. It is actually right behind Rush Hour. I super debated which one I liked more, and I just decided to have Rush Hour higher because of the nostalgia. Kind of trumps this brand new movie, though I think in time I will like Rumble in the Bronx more. It's so good. Watch it. And then after that is Police Story, sitting at number 64 in the quite like section. And then bringing up the rear is Project A, sitting at number 117 in the liked section. And this is out of a total of 214 old movies so far this year. And that brings the grand total out of all the movies I've seen so far this year up to 261.